So,
All right, welcome back to another Trying to Get Jacked episode. This is actually a two jacked one. This is gonna be, I don't know if people are gonna be able to handle this. Too much
mm,
testosterone in one video.
mm,
Um, but before we start, we obviously have a guest here, as you guys can see, and people who are listening on audio. We got Rav here, Ravdeep, Singhlifts on Instagram, Sing Inks,
thanks.
tattooing course, all that good stuff.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna give
brother.
a little I'm gonna let him do his intro a little bit, but I'm gonna give him a little intro firsthand from how I know him. So we actually went. I didn't know you in high school. We didn't know each other in high school. We didn't talk at all, I think. But we actually went to the same high school, I think,
Yeah, yeah, I
right? Notre
remember.
Dame.
Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, but it was like 4 years apart, Notre Dame, right? 4 or 3 years apart. And then I kind of knew after like you started posting sometimes like your old throwback pictures, like
Yeah,
transformation stuff like that. I was like,
yeah,
oh shit, bro, like this guy went to the same high school.
that's,
Um, so I knew from there. And then the second, I used to be at Kings Point Good Life a lot, right? That's where I met you first. And then I remember you competed in 2017, like
yeah.
a men's physique show.
Did we?
And
Yeah, no, right?
we did compete the same year. I competed like 2 months later.
Oh, sick, sick, sick. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I saw him compete that year, 2017, and he was the only person like posting stuff online. Like he was the only one posting content online.
Yeah,
He was posting like on YouTube, vlogs. Basically he was a social person. I was like, yo, this guy's like doing stuff online and it's
yeah,
cool. And I wanted to, I was just getting into it because I did the physique show and I was like, yo, I'm gonna just start posting whatever I do, right? And he was one of like the I guess if you want to mimic somebody, I was like, yo, let me see like what Rav's doing, right? And he was really aesthetic with stuff in terms
yeah,
of what he posted. So basically that's long story short, that and now we know obviously he does tattooing, he's still into fitness, supplement store, Bulldog,
yeah,
nutrition, all the good stuff you guys see online.
yeah,
So it's cool to see the journey, from different phases. And that's what
yeah.
we'll dive into today.
Yep.
Um, and even like diving into, how you went to university and then you're like, yo, I'm gonna do my own path.
Might
So
drop that.
right? So yeah, let's dive into it. If you want to give an intro in terms of like what you do, who Rav is behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
who people see you online, like you give us an intro, bro.
I mean, mainly people know me from Singhlifts. That's the page I started off with, and I think how I met Rounit is we started working out at the same gym, and of course, we found common ground. The fact that we went to the same high school. You were also trying to get into like the bodybuilding, the fitness scene and stuff. And especially around the time that we started, whether it's competing or whether it's actually doing like a show or even just being on social media, there weren't that many things, let alone more Punjabi people doing social media when it comes to the fitness content or any sort of like that creative field, right? Everyone was too focused on becoming doctors, engineers, lawyers, and stuff. And I was in school for becoming a doctor too at that time. I was doing kinesiology at York University, and my goal was to like become a chiropractor, doctor, go into those fields and stuff, and then just have like my business as like a side hustle or start doing social media and stuff, right? And I really wanted to rep our community. That was my biggest motivation because I didn't see anyone to look up to, especially if you're Punjabi saying I had no one to look up to, especially in the fitness scene at that time. So when we kind of started posting content, I started getting attention, and it was it made me realize, okay, this is something different. So this is something unique. And that's what really just kept inspiring me day by day. But the biggest lesson I have learned is no matter how far you try to see and how far you try to vision something, um, you're never, it's like starting a painting. You start off with a blank canvas and you figure it out as you go. I mean, back in the day when I started social media, I was against tattoos. Now I'm a fucking tattoo artist. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
changes over time as long as you don't give up. That's the biggest thing. It sounds so cliche, but as long as you don't give up, you should keep at it. So
yeah,
now I'm like doing a supplement store, tattooing, running social media, my personal social media page, and of course doing like real estate like every other brown guy, you know?
yeah. Have to, bro. But
How'd you
so
get into like how'd you get into doing literally what you're doing right now? You're literally tattooing someone. Like how did you make that switch from fitness to tattooing? Like that's I knew you personally as Sing Lifts
Yeah,
and then I
yeah,
saw tattoo stuff come. I'm like, oh snap, this guy's like he does tattoos now. So talk to us
yeah.
about that.
Remember Ron mentioned about me being creative when I started. I really did it in a very aesthetic and a very cinematic way. Even the most basic things I would post for that time, I would try my best to make them most cinematic and like something different, something unique. And art was something that's like always been a huge passion of mine. whether it's through cameras, whether it's through drawing, oil painting, or even tattoos. I knew I was really good at art. It was something very natural to me ever since I was a kid. So eventually, when I got my first ever tattoo, that was 2021. I got my first ever tattoo, which was like this sleeve that I have the outer side of my arm. I just love the fact that you could do art and leave like a permanent legacy on someone's body. You get what I'm saying? And it was just so cool at that time, just being a tattoo artist or even just like tattooing people, just the whole idea of it really clicked. And take it in, before that, I used to be against tattoos, man. I did not fuck with tattoos. I did not like people who have tattoos. I was very closed-minded as a kid because whatever you thought, right? Whichever values you were raised with as a blonde person, that's the values I had. But eventually, once I got my first tattoo, my whole perspective about tattooing and my whole perspective about seeing tattooing as an art completely flipped and changed on me. And I got into it. I was like, you know what? This is something that it's like a calling. Like I said, figuring it out step by step as you go.
Do you remember like your first client as a tattoo artist? Like, do you
Yo,
remember like,
my first client was my auntie. Yo.
and how was that interaction? Were you like, the
Uh,
auntie asked you for a tattoo, or you were like, yo, let me try it?
I mean, it was a free tattoo, so she wanted it. And I
So,
just did up heavy when I did it. But it's just one of those things, you got to start somewhere.
but then what was your, okay, let's go into what was your first paid client? Like, how did you get your first paid client as a tattoo
Our
artist?
first paid clients as a tattoo artist, it kind of goes back to the whole idea of just building a social media presence, right?
Mm,
Building an image that's positive, building an image that people can kind of trust you and see you hustle. Yo, that's your dog, by the way. What's his name again?
vibes. You know, he's about to go bang the fucking every night, bro. You guys start humping the fucking
Uh,
comforter.
I have a golden doodle mix with no, I have a poodle mix with a Bernese mountain dog.
Yeah, he's golden doodle too.
Jeez.
Jokes.
Um, but damn, fuck.
The tattoos. How'd you get? Okay, so brand building is obviously essential if you want to get like if you want to monetize social stuff. But yeah, we were talking about how'd you get a first paid client.
Yeah, so brand building, right? I feel like a lot of people just start off businesses and they just want to promote their work 24/7. Let's say like
Yeah.
you start. Holy
He
jeez.
just
Okay.
So yeah, when a lot of people start, kind of want to just promote their work, whether you're a tattoo artist, whether you're like someone doing construction, whatever it is, all they want to show is their work and just attract clients through that. But they don't focus on building self-image for the company. They don't connect an identity to the company that people can trust. You get what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
Tesla. Tesla is not just electric cars. Tesla is Elon Musk. You get what I'm saying? So
100%.
you have to, in my opinion, for social media, especially nowadays to stand out, you have to connect an identity to a company, whether it's big or small. You have to make the company bigger than just its products. You have to build a culture around the company. And that's what I try to do with social media. With my personal social media, I try to basically let people know who Singhlifts is. And when they start knowing Singhlifts, everything connected to it just indirectly gets marketed. That's my biggest recommendation. That's how I got my first client. That's why it was so much easier for me to step into this field and have them shit to my clients off the bat.
And then obviously you obviously do a sick job with people, so then they refer
Yeah,
other clients.
of course, yeah. You can't be doing fucking dinky tattoos and shit.
So was this in your, this wasn't, again, this probably goes to your whole idea of like paintings, right? Blank canvas. I'm sure you weren't thinking like this back in like 2017 and 18. And like, when did this transition in your thought happen of like, yo, I'm gonna actually build a brand. And once I have built the identity, now I can start different things that like I'm passionate about. Like, when was that transition or did it click in your mind? Or it was just like accumulation?
Bro, when I was younger, I actually struggled with a lot of anxiety and depression around the age of 21 to 23.
Okay.
26 now, so only 2, 3 years ago, actually. And that's where a lot of transitions in my life started to happen, where I was basically really close-minded initially as a kid because whatever values and ethics you're raised with, and as you're trying to figure yourself out as a man, becoming a better version of yourself, and just trying to figure out, just trying to outgrow the old you and becoming the new you. The transition between that is the most important transition and the most hardest transition in my opinion. So as I started basically seeing things from an open perspective, an open-minded perspective, a more of a loving and accepting perspective, um, I mean, you personally knew me, right? Like you knew I was like pretty, I was different when I was younger. And once I started to kind of shift my perspective about life in general, and be more open-minded, like for example, seeing tattoos as an art and not just a sticker on a Bentley. It really
Yeah.
shift things for me. It really started to open more opportunities for me. Because more love you have in your heart towards every person, whether it's lovers or haters that you have out there, more opportunities and more perspective and positive perspectives you will attract in life. And
100%.
that's how I got to. I was basically struggled. I had to outgrow the old me and become the new me in order to find my path in life.
So, yo, can we, I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but like, I want to first talk about the fitness component, because obviously that was one of the ignites or like Kickstarter initially, right? When I
Yeah.
met you, like, you had a crazy transformation, you had
Yeah.
like the whole, changed everything.
Yeah.
Was fitness actually, how did you get in fitness? Guys, you used to train at Planet Fitness, right? That's where you
Uh,
started?
yeah, that's where I started. I started training at Planet Fitness. I used to
A-
work up and Good Life.
And what year was when you started working out initially?
I think that was your first year uni, I was like 18, 19. So what year is that?
8 years ago? So 26, 17, 15?
Like 6.5, 7 years ago, I would say, yeah.
And then what got you in the gym?
My motivation was just to lose weight and to look better. That was
Okay.
and once it became more than that, it helped me fight my mental health problems, gym. It helped me become mentally and physically stronger. Made me more determined, and the values that you actually build being in the gym, whether it's through dieting, whether it's becoming determined towards the goals, whether it's competing in a show, you take those values and you basically start to apply that shit into real. Um,
We're good.
that's why I feel like I was able to. I don't want to use the word successful. That's why I was able to like be more consistent in every part of any business that I started.
Yeah, because I'm just only reason I ask this, bro, I want to reverse engineer it. So I'm like, okay, Rav started in the gym 2015,
Yeah.
2016.
Yeah.
Initially it was like lose weight, feel healthier, all that stuff, right? And then you competed in 2017. That's sort of posting stuff online just to,
Yeah.
rep there was not many Singhs, so you're trying to rep the name, you rep the identity pretty much. And then you went into the supplement store stuff, Bulldog, right? How
Uh,
did that happen? So what was the path from like just doing fitness to be like, yeah, I want to own a supplement store?
um, when you sit down with yourself and you look at things that you actually like doing and things you don't like doing, it becomes a lot easier for you to eliminate the things that you don't mess with and focus on things you do. There were
Okay.
being in the gym, business, marketing, you could say business marketing and art. And I used to actually work for Bulldog as an ambassador before I actually even got the store. And I was always just seeking opportunities, right? So when I was in the gym, I was talking to people. I was looking for, okay, like I have like this long-term plan that no matter what, I want to become a businessman, whether that's through a supplement store, whether that's through a fitness field, or just being an online social media influencer, right? And I remember I was working Good Life front desk, and the person like at that time I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, bro, like I'm really like I mess with your company's culture because I'm an ambassador for your company. I want to open a supplement store. Like, what is it gonna take? And at that time, he was like, you know what? I'm actually selling my business right now. So I got into the 49% of the business after consulting with him, after working at his own store for almost like a year and a half, 2 years. Got a bit of help from my dad when I initially started Bulldog. And then over time, of course, I saved more money as I worked the store, being the 49% of the owner, and then eventually bought out the 100% of the store. So that's how I kind of got into Bulldog. I was just consistently seeking opportunities and always keeping my eyes open for, okay, I know what the long-term goal is, even though I don't know how to get there, and even though I don't know the exact steps I'm going to take to get there, I was always seeking opportunities, and I had a bigger plan in mind. So that's
So
fitness and Bulldog kind of blended.
okay, sick. That's exactly what I wanted to get out. So
Yeah.
once you got into Bulldog now, right? And even before you pulled that trigger of doing the 49%, getting your parents, and that's a question I want to ask. So how did your parents feel about you being like, yo, like I want to start this business, I want to do a supplement store? Because a lot of like parents sometimes would be like, yo, take the traditional route, go to school, study, and then yes, figure it out if you want to
Yeah,
open up your practice, right?
that's exactly what my plan was initially.
Okay. So how was that conversation with the parents if someone's, thinking about having that conversation?
Um, Yo, at the end of the day, you gotta treat your parents as you gotta understand their perspective. You gotta understand that you're asking them to trust you without proof.
100%?
if someone was to come up to me and tell me, yo, I'm gonna fly like 2 inches off the ground, I'm probably gonna laugh at them, right? Because there's no proof that they can prove it to me that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Parents can't have the same perspective towards things like this when, um, I guess like when you're younger and you approach your parents and be like, yo, dad, I want to drop out of school to do social media. I mean, your dad doesn't know social media. Your dad doesn't know the influence that a social media can have on your life. Um, so I would say don't expect them to support you off the bat, but prove it to them. Prove it to them that, like whatever words that you have coming out of your mouth actually have value and meaning. Prove it to them that you can, whatever you say you're going to do. And that's when they'll start trusting you. Now my parents love my business. Now my parents are, my mom's going to grocery stores and asking like girls at the front desk working at grocery stores, and she's like promoting my business, like tattooing, bro. A brown mom promoting tattooing. Why? Because I proved it to them. You know what? As long as I'm doing what I love, I can succeed with it. I mean, I have a Lambo parked in the studio right here, so that itself like says a lot. So, oh shit.
We good? Oh shit, he got decked here.
Had that.
Technical difficulties. He'll be back. But yo, that's wicked, right? See, you're getting the sauce behind the scenes, right? You see, like, yeah, I guess the podcast obviously has to continue, but so if people listening on audio, Rav got disconnected because his Lambo was too jacked, and the podcast couldn't take it, and it just kicked him out. Um, but yo, like, what do you? Because yo, we're in a similar boat. Again, you're
I
at that.
think I think I have a much more like third person perspective on this because like I've only
Okay.
seen like Rob on Instagram, right?
Yeah,
Like first time having a conversation with Rob, hearing all this, like I've never even heard any of this before. So for me, I'm like, oh snap! I just see the guy on Instagram, see the video with the cars, and like, oh snap, he has a supplement. So like, this is pretty cool to hear, right? Like, it's
yeah,
always cool to hear about how people, especially in our culture, when he was talking about like having that conversation with his parents, right? Going through that, it's like something that's so relatable. I feel like for a lot of people in our culture, where it's just like they're scared to take risks, right? Your parents, they come
yeah,
here, they took the big risk to come here, and now you're like, oh, I'm gonna take another risk. They don't want you to do that, right? Because they're
yeah.
so it's cool to hear from him.
That's what I was gonna ask him next. I was like, yo, so when you did pull that trigger 49% of Bulldog, like, because I'm guessing that age is he's 26 right now, so that's like 5 years ago or something. It's like you're 21 and you're pulling that trigger of be like, yeah, I'm gonna get 49% in Bulldog, right? And asking your parents for whatever chunk of money that is, and them trusting you with it and pulling that trigger. Because a lot of people, even till now, like I'm 29, even our age, like my age, people still struggle to pull triggers, right? Even though
Yeah,
like they love something. So even like what makes the inclination of be like, yo, pull that trigger. But I also wanted to ask him, like, did he have any role models looking up in business sense? Because like I wanted to be a businessman at like 19, 20. I already knew the long game as being a businessman, right? A lot of people have that, right? Especially in like the brown community. They're like, I want to
100%.
make money, I want to be successful, but I don't really, yeah.
You usually hear that with people who like their parents are business owners, right? Like their parents have like a store or they have like something and they're going for that. Like I don't in my like close family, like there's not really anyone that kind of owns a business, right? Like we
Yeah.
all came in jobs like doing what I'm doing right now. Like I never didn't even think like, oh, I would own my own business until like maybe a couple years ago, right? That's when I was like, oh snap, like people actually do this.
100%. I think you know what's crazy? I think it's one of those things where if you never see anybody in your circle that's jacked, then you don't really see like you don't really want to get jacked. Like you don't really care about it. But like or like the same thing with business stuff. Like you've never seen anybody making like $1 million a month or some shit like that. You're like, oh cool man, if I just make like five, six, I'll be chilling, right? Like you don't really see it in your environment, so you don't think it's even a possibility. You're like
Yeah.
that's just like and like that's one of the reasons for this podcast too. In my head, I'm like after we do 100 episodes. We start getting straight fucking ballers. And obviously we got one baller today, but like, start getting people who do these things. So people listen to it. He's just a normal guy, bro. He's a normal
Yeah.
guy who wanted to lose weight. And then he just kept doing it. And then he just kept doing it. And now he's doing and then he's like, I don't know what the painting was gonna look like. Right? So it's cool to see that people just like if you stick to something long enough,
You can do it, right?
the
And that's why
returns
like,
are gonna be
that whole thing where it's like consistency with the gym, it's like that carries over, and you hear that in so many people that like get in shape. They're like, my life is so much better in other areas. It's like, but you just
yeah.
started lifting weights. It's like, yeah, but you staying consistent with that one skill to the two skills to the three skills, and then you just become the person that can be consistent with anything because it's the end of the day, like you said, the core principles are pretty much the same. Just stick to the one thing. Once you do it, just get better and better at it. So cool.
100%, bro. I'm hoping he didn't fuck up the guy's tattoo, bro, when he was doing tattooing, because I think it was like he was right there, right?
No, I think he's good.
You think he was good? Okay, okay, okay. Because the ring light went through his head, but I messaged him. He's probably coming back on in I think 3 minutes. Did you have any other questions you want to ask him?
Oh, bro, I'm along for the ride.
I'm along for that, bro. I wanted to get into like the social media noise, bro, because like a lot of young kids are gonna come on social, and I'm like, they probably look up to you. Because I've had people be like, "Yo, do you know Singlifts?" Right? And be like, "Yo, bro, I want to like be like him. I want to get like his beard, or like I want to like have like views like him on Instagram, or take whatever, start like a fitness page, or start like a social media page, right?" So I wanted him to talk about like the amount of time it takes, first of all, and then like what can people start doing to improve their brand. But then at the same time, I'm sure he's had people who like, you know, disrespect or like hate or whatever. How do you ignore the noise per se? But what would you say for that? Because you're now like you've been consistent now for like a good amount of time. You've seen your followers go up. Do you ever think about that? Do you ever like get
Yo, there's definitely people that leave comments on my stuff. They're like, yo, like that one video I posted that went viral. They're like, oh, the Tomo wedding one. They're like, oh, why are you even trying to lose weight at a Tomo wedding? I was like,
yeah,
bro, like that's what my client's trying to do. Like he wants to do that goal, right? So like you
yeah,
get so much stuff, and at the end of the day, like I think when it first happened, like I was kind of shook.
mm,
Um, yo, why is this random person I never met before like leaving like a shitty comment, right? And I'm like,
yeah,
what the fuck? But for me, like. Bro, every day when I woke up, my mom would say, go to school, go to school, go to school for the past like 3, 4 years. And it's been what, 3 years since I came out of school. Every day I wake up, it was go back to school instead of be a trainer. And like I wake up, I go to work, I hear it every single day. So for me to hear that every single day of my life, when I look at that, I'm like, bro, I was able to tolerate this. Like this random person, like I don't even value this person's opinion. That shit doesn't fucking matter to me. Right? Like at
yeah,
the end of the day, like there's only a certain amount of people where I actually listen to and I'm like, oh snap, this person said something and it probably I should value their opinion because I respect them for what they do, right?
yeah,
If I'm hearing this all the time, it's like it just becomes noise at the end of the day. Yeah, I'm not gonna say like it doesn't affect you at some point to constantly see that shit over and over again. But man, I think like Rab said it best, like if you just come from a place of love, that person that's commenting on your thing is probably like really fucked up on the inside and they have some problems and that's why they're commenting that in the first place. Whatever
yeah,
they're saying to you, they probably believe about themselves. People just project. Once you put it like that, then it's just like, bro. I think one guy commented, he like commented, he was like, bro, you don't even look that big. I was like, bro, I literally help people for a living. I've changed so many people's lives. Like I have the transformation to prove it. He's like,
yeah.
no, bro. I'm like, bro, go get some help. Like, what's wrong with you? He just didn't know what to respond after that. I was like, bro, like I can't really help you at that point, right? So stuff like
Yeah,
that happens. You just have to be able to take it. I think there's certain people that can take it better than others, and there's certain people that definitely like let that affect them.
yeah,
Uh, but it just comes down to being confident in what you're doing and if you do a good job, bro, you do a good job. People can't take that away from you at the end of the day. Like if Rab came and he had some shitty tattoos and someone was commenting on it, he'd probably like, if there's truth to what people are saying, then it'll affect you. But
yeah.
if there's no truth and you're good at what you do and that's why you do it, then I don't think it should bother you at any point, right? What about you, man?
100%. Yeah. Nah, bro, it's similar boat. So like I think I break it down into like three categories. I'm like first I look at the comment. I'm like, okay, is there actually some truth to this? Like, is there some like criticism here that can benefit me? Because sometimes there'll be like things that maybe I say that may not come off directly or like someone could read it the wrong way, right? And then I would actually comment back, like, yo, sick, what do you mean by this? Explain or whatever. I'll go into it, jokes with it. Or the other side would be, okay, yo, this guy clearly is like having a bad day or like a bad life or whatever it is. It's fine. I'll pray for this guy. And I usually, like it's funny, I kind of respond back saying, love you too, bro. Like it's the funniest thing.
Yeah, yeah,
And then sometimes they actually follow you back and then they message you. And I've had this like so many times now. Then the message is like, yo, bro, like my bad. I didn't mean to actually like hate on you. I was just, like I thought like that was the wrong thing or whatever. But all the other content is totally fine. I'm like, okay, sick, bro. So you're just having a bad day. You just wanted to splurge out. The last thing, sometimes what I find myself when I'm making content, I'm thinking about, oh, what if like someone might comment this on this because like
yeah,
I'm saying something that's politically incorrect or whatever, right? Or it's like something what I actually feel. but like
Yeah.
I don't want to say it because I'm like, oh, it might get judged, right? And then that's where I'm like, okay, am I being real with me or am I just trying to please like too many people at once? Because like I've gotten in that role too where I'm usually like the nice guy in the group, right? And I'll be the one that's like always in the middle, like neutral. But sometimes you just gotta take a stand, right? Of like, yo, like you're fat. Like something like where like you can't be too nice all the time because
Yeah.
some people need to be real. So like that's where I'm actually in the middle right now of like making sure that the content is good, but also it's like I'm actually saying stuff that I truly, truly believe in instead of trying to be like, by the way, you can do this, but also integrate this and like, all nice and fluffy, and then taking that baby step approach. Because some people need to hear like, yo, bro, you've been trying baby steps for the last 30 years and like it hasn't worked, right? You gotta fucking put your head down and work, right? So saying things like that, which is actually what I feel, I don't feel comfortable saying at times because I'm like, yo, is it coming off rude? It's not the nice guy image. But then that's in
Yeah.
my head of like, oh, I'm thinking about what other people would say, which I'm getting better at not really caring about. But yeah, it, before he's
I think
fucking me all the time. Yeah,
the opposite of you. Like I'm probably a lot more reckless with the shit I say, whether
exactly.
it's their podcast. Like even people that kind of listen to like, yo, Keg said that. It's like I think for a
Yeah,
long time, like I was very quiet. I wouldn't say things.
yeah,
I don't know, something happened. And I think it was probably me getting in shape and I just had more confidence to say things. Now if you go
100%.
and talk to my friends and family, like I'm kind of reckless with the shit I say, even with that. Like it's like that's just who I am at this point. Like if I have a
Yeah,
thought and it's not like super fucked up, I'll say it out loud, right? And
yeah,
it's like, yo, that's what it is at the end of the day. And that's what people come to me for is because like they know when they talk to me, whether they see me on Instagram or if it's on a call or if they see me in person, speak the exact same way. I'm like not afraid to speak your mind. At the end of the day, like you just have to live with the consequences.
yeah,
And I think I saw this one thing. It was like you can never be canceled. Like think about like if you just keep going, you can never be canceled. Obviously, that
100%.
doesn't mean be a dickhead,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. There's some
with
exceptions.
reason, it's like you just keep going. The people that support you will support you. The people that don't. And I don't
Yeah.
really need in the first place. I'm sure you can say the same too. So
And bro, you can go mad deep with this because like what are the consequences? We'll deal with it. But what are the consequences of you not being you? Like that
just be
that's
like,
even yeah, that's even worse, right? Because then like if you're not you, then the people who expect like real you and like real coaching from you or like real answers in relationships, you're not being honest. And what are the consequences of that breaking? You know what I'm saying? So it technically has consequences either way. One of them is like, yo, you're gonna be like that because you're like that. One of them is like, okay, yo, you're doing this for a specific thing, right? Which can get pretty rowdy down the line, 10 years down the line. You're like, fuck, man, I've made this image for myself online. I'm not even this person. It'd be fucked up, right? So I could, right? Because you think about it, how many people like I'm watching the show on Prime, Rookie, right? I don't know if you've seen it or not, but like basically, there was like a one episode where there's a kid in the hospital, right? And his mom calls the cops. It's all about the cops in the show, right? And then they go to the hospital, and there's two influencers in the hospital room taking a selfie with the kid who has like cancer, right? And they're like with a tripod and shit. And basically, the cops pull the kids out, like the influencers, and like, what are you doing? This is harassment, whatever. We're gonna arrest you. And then the guy tells the girl who's taking like the video or whatever, so for social media, like she needs more empathy posts because her followers are stagnant, right? Because her posts have been too stagnant, and now she needs more empathy. That's what they were taking the picture with the kid with cancer. I was like, bro, this is rowdy, and I don't know how like true that is, but I'm sure that shit happens, bro. Right? Curating all these things just for the online presence. It's like, yo, that's gone too far, right? So having that balancing act of like, yeah, yeah, this is social media talk.
people like get caught up with other people with what other people are thinking, and they'll just say things. Like I feel like, especially on social media, people will share stuff that like they don't
100%.
even really know things about, right? Like they'll just share information. They'll share this story, some sort of social justice thing will come up. People will share it without even understanding what's going on behind it, right? I'm not saying don't share it, but
Yeah.
like people will just share it, be like, oh, yo, 10 of my friends have shared this. Maybe I should share it too. It's like, yo, like
Mm-hmm.
think for yourself. If you actually want to share it, go ahead and fucking share it. But if you don't know enough about it, it does not make sense to do it, right? And that's how I like, if you don't actually genuinely believe in what you're saying and you
Yeah.
can't double down or triple down on it, then you don't deserve to be. have that voice, right? That's when you look back on your shit and you go, oh damn, maybe I just wasn't the person I am, right?
5,000%, bro. Like we'll probably like I don't think this guy's coming back. I think he probably got decked or some shit, but hopefully he's fine. We'll get him another for round two. Cause but either way, last point on that. A lot of people ask me some cause the stuff going on Brampton, right? With the whole things. I'm not gonna
Yeah, I
specifically talk
asked you about this too. Yeah.
right? A lot of people ask about this and then like politics in general. I'm like, bro, I'm so clueless. I don't watch the news. I have nothing in that area in terms of knowledge. So like it's not that I don't have an opinion on it. It's just that my opinion is not through actual substance of knowledge. So I'm not gonna speak on it because I have no right to speak on it. Right? Just because I see other people look like me maybe who speak about it and they stand up in a righteous manner, it's like, okay, do you actually know stuff? And if you do, wicked, because I actually don't know if so. I don't know if you're saying right stuff. But if you
Mhm.
ask me, I don't have the opinion on it, right? And it's like, yo, this is my lane, and I try to learn as much as about different lanes. But some lanes I just don't know enough about, right? So you got to be honest with yourself. So, but yeah, okay. This was a interesting turn of events in this podcast.
Yo,
Uh,
we'll find out what happens on the next episode of the podcast, yo.
yeah, we'll keep you guys updated.
That's when we'll find out. Did he fuck up the tattoo? Did he save it? We'll never know.
We'll find out, yeah. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy this podcast anyways. Maybe comment below if you guys want Rav again. We'll try to get him again anyways, but comment below. And any other guests you guys want to see. And again, share goes a long way. Comment, ask any questions for the Friday podcast. And we should be chilling. Any other last words?
Let us know if you guys have questions. Send it to one of us, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Next week. All right. See you guys. Bye bye.